No, I just want to see how long you'll be quiet.
You son of a bitch.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Command Value 1. Contrary to the episode guide, this is episode 13. It's been a long break between personal affairs, lack of motivation, and life just getting in our way. We haven't been back to BS and talk about Zone Fleet, gaming, video games, movies, all that shit that we normally talk about. Well, we mostly talk about Zone and Fleet, but no news is good news, right? John?
There's been news.
There has been news. In fact, if we jump straight into what's new, they announced an army builder. Yeah, I am the new. I like Huey Lewis.
And the news.
I am his entire band.
Do you believe in love?
That was the Darkness, wasn't it? They believed in a thing called love.
I thought Huey Lewis and the news had a song. Do you believe in love?
The power of love.
No.
Hey, I just want you to know that yes, it's true. I'm happy to be stuck with you. Wow, how many Huey Lewis references are we going to ram into the first minute and a half of this episode?
However many is available to me through Back to the Future, since I've seen that movie.
Is that it? Is Back to the Future your only source of Huey Lewis references?
Probably.
So you think of Huey Lewis and the news, and you think, yeah, they're like they had that one hit, and then you look up their discography, and they're like, man, they were bigger than I remember.
They had a ton of hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a greatest hits album, which I may or may not have a copy of.
And they do have a song called "Do You Believe in Love?"
Oh, okay. I don't think I know that one.
And that must not have been one of their bigger hits.
I thought it was one of their biggest.
Well,
I'm gonna have to find it right now while you guys are.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, so TT announced the army builder, and they showed some screenshots, which was interesting, because if you look closely at the screenshots, there's some interesting concepts about unit stat lines. I don't want to get too far into that, but we totally are going to get a cease and desist from Huey Lewis in the news now.
Okay.
This is why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that proves the point, Jordan. I don't think I knew that was their song.
I don't think that I knew that was the name of that song. But now as that song starts playing, now the chorus is stuck in my head, so I'm going to be earwormed with that for the rest of the cast. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
God damn it. All right. So, Don, I was about to read my line that you hated, that you wanted me to strike from the record, but they showed off some more stuff on the remnant or the resistance fleet. They again confirmed that the resistance fleet is 100% modular, which I will again confirm that will be 100% min-max, which means
at Salute, when we showed it off at Salute, we talked about the modularity of the ships themselves, like the physical ships. We didn't actually officially announce the modularity and how you actually create your ships. And so in that post, we pointed out that you basically buy a base cost frigate, cruiser, etc., and then you then sort of piece in, you outfit it with what you want.
I don't piece in. I'm always piece out.
Jesus.
Right. It's going to be that kind of night.
Yeah, great.
You better strap in, listeners, because this is the kind of bullshit you're going to get all evening. Anyways, the even bigger point of that is that they did mention that Battle for Earth is right around the corner. They didn't want to confirm anything, and they did say in a couple of weeks to look out for something. So I have to feel like we're going to get the big reveal that we've been waiting for sooner than later.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen the Resistance fleet now. We've seen behemoths, at least for the PHR. We know there's behemoths for everybody. We've seen Kalian Cabal drop zone units. So, I mean, we've got hints of, those things alone are enough for a Reconquest book. So, the new army builder suggests that they have to be close enough to version 2 being tight to say, yeah, we're going to make an app about it. So,
there's
staring down that barrel. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
we got enough for that.
Hey, 2010 called Jordan. They want their catchphrase back.
Anyways. So, I think at this point, everybody's kind of like, cool. When's the release date?
Right.
And fair enough. So hopefully when we actually get that date out there, then sort of the culmination of everything we've shown so far will, come back around and people will put some weight to it,
People have been on the edge of their seat for so long, they're finally just going to sit back and not care. I mean, relax and read the book.
You've been like a terrible pessimist this whole week, by the way.
I have been. I'm excited for it. My pet peeve when I have to get on Facebook and I see someone make the whole "it's the lifestyle this game like anymore," and I just want to choke them. I don't know. Michelle posted the update, and I had to get in there with a GIF immediately. I put in the Monty Python "Bring Out Your Dead." I just wanted to get in here before somebody else popped in with the "this game is dead" post. Like the day Facebook allows me to physically punch people in the face, it's going to be a great day. I mean, I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me from other people, but I am going to throw some Facebook punches.
I mean, you could at least petition to have a punch emoji on Facebook, right?
Right.
Well, you could do the punch, whatchamacallit. Yeah, there's a punch emoji, just not a reactionary one for Facebook.
It's going to be like punching an eggplant every time.
I want a Kool-Aid Man punch emoji.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good one. I'd take a Kool-Aid Man. I know, man. I know, yeah, I'm like everything.
So is that it? Is that the what's new? Do we have nothing else new to talk about?
There was a lot of zone buildings teased in a certain work in progress Wednesday post of week before last.
Yeah, good memory there. There was a ton of new zone stuff, including overpasses and also board depth.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. That could make me want to get the actual MDF boards.
Also, I was shown a little bit more of that just today.
Can you talk about it?
No, I can't. I wasn't specifically told not to show anybody by my boss, so that means I definitely can't. But I was teased a little bit more of that today, so pretty cool stuff.
The tease that they sent out there was a good amount to take in that. So
yep, yeah, certainly. In fact, in my response today, I don't. Apparently, in England, they don't call their city ghettos the projects. So I made my boss Google that and find out what I was talking about.
He's like, "Oh, you live in the projects."
I was like, "Wow, there's going to be some really good script rappers coming out of this board."
So there's some trailer park stuff then?
There's a cluster of buildings, and I was just kind of being a smart ass about it. And I was like, okay, well, I got to throw some Wu-Tang on these buildings then.
Wu-Tang for the children.
So protect your neck.
All right. Anything else I forgot that was new that we should mention before we move on to game recaps?
Yeah, tomorrow we should be seeing the first releases for the new Infinity stuff that we shut off during Salute.
Tomorrow being May 17th,
yes,
2019.
Sorry. Yep.
Friday By the time you hear this.
Yes. Friday as in the date that Derek just said. Because we teased it on the Tuesday of this week. So
Friday.
So we should have the first bit of that coming out and some pretty cool stuff.
Stop. Jordan started to bust into a Friday song. Are you going to sing that shitty little chick that got like popular for 15 minutes on YouTube?
No, I said Friday.
I'm sorry. It's just shitty music seems to be a theme this episode. I didn't know if we were sticking with it.
Well, it was more of a shitty movie than a shitty music. And you know this man.
Friday was not a shitty movie. Come on, man. That is a classic.
Apparently, Derek did not know this man.
I get you high today.
I'm sorry. Am I supposed to comment?
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
I guess you can't because you don't know Friday.
I don't.
Have you not seen Friday?
Probably not.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Is this right up there with Joe versus the Volcano?
Yes, absolutely. Both are amazing movies.
All right. When my pulse slows down, I'll watch them.
So that's it for news stuff that I can think of.
Are we sure? We got really discombobulated going through this. Just a recap. Yeah. Army Builder announced. Tease of Resistance. Don's cutting me off. Drop Zone Buildings. Infinity Buildings.
And some more of the Orc line. Orc train line.
That's a sharp-looking line. If I could stomach 40K, I'd look at getting some of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I'm really digging it. I made sure I ordered some for Origins.
That'd be a good call. There's a big 40K presence there.
Yeah. I actually went a little light on the Gothic stuff since we've had that at every show. And I've sort of bumped up the Orc and Elf and that stuff.
I feel like people have their Gothic terrain already.
Right. There's a lot of Gothic out there.
Hey, but if you could order a couple of those sweet-ass sci-fi looking railgun and weapon emplacements, those would be great for drop zone boards.
Yeah, I guess so, because there is a crazy massive gun emplacement, you know?
Yeah, like the giant railgun looks to me like it looks like a PHR orbital battery.
Right. So
it looks like an objective structure to me, and I would totally paint it to match my army.
You definitely get away with it.
So you know what you must do. Add that to my order, Mr. Roach.
Oh Jesus, they might kill me if I had more. They're already freaking out because they have to get that product out to me literally the week after UK Games Expo.
Just a couple of MDF kits. They can do it. Tell them it's from me.
Already added your doors.
It won't mean shit, but tell them it's from me.
Yeah, who the hell's Derek?
Tell them it's from me then.
Yeah, I'll tell them it's for Jordan though.
Oh,
Louis will come fly it out personally.
Right.
Like, Jordan, that dumb bastard will do whatever we tell him.
For nothing.
All right, so on to game recap. Yeah, I think it is too. We're just gonna move along because I do have a fond memory to talk about in game recaps. Jordan, the last game that Jordan and I got to play was a game of Drop Zone at the Dragon's Roost. Jordan, do you remember that game?
I do.
Oh man, do you remember Napoleon falling?
I was a little frustrated by trying out that.
I gotta tell you, I am not impressed with Napoleon.
I mean, I don't know how you could have formed an opinion because, you know.
I killed it in the air.
Went down with the ship. See, now, here's the thing. When I left, I set Jordan up with the perfect emplacement. And after I left, messed the whole thing up.
So that was one of the
Yo-
key things that happened was that Don and Patrick were waiting for Patrick's wife to come back. So we were all kind of just Patrick and I were playing PHR, and Jordan and Don were playing Resistance, and we were just going along. And Patrick looks at me when he leaves. He's like, "All right, I'm going to do my Patrick imitation voice. All right, don't lose." And I didn't. And of course, I didn't battle report it because that's the only way I can beat Jordan is if it's not on tape.
And before you talk about your perfect placement, Don, the Napoleon was in the exact spot you moved it to when it got shot down.
So I guess thank you, Don.
It would seem like a pretty good placement to me.
If I'm not mistaken, so it was a weird situation because I had a walk on Phobos. So turn 2, he walked on, but I had a Neptune that had already dropped off whatever it was carrying. So it just zipped over, picked him up, and moved him up to get in the fire lane by the critical location.
It wasn't the Phobos, it was the Helios.
Well, I dropped the Helios off. The Helios came off of that Neptune, and they were driving up the board under their own power. And that Neptune went back and grabbed the Phobos and took him up around the other side of the building. So I had Helios on one side of the building and Phobos on the other. And it was right up by the critical location. So his drop ships were trying to move in, his fast movers trying to go through, and I just shot up everything.
Okay, so did you pick up that Phobos that turn and then get to go first the next turn?
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
But
okay,
I mean, I had two Helios and a Phobos to fire with. So I mean,
how did that Neptune get that all the way over there? I'm trying to figure out how you got that around the corner to get to that. It was hugging that building.
Who was hugging what building?
I'm pretty sure he had that lift talk hugging that building. Because I knew that the Helios were over there, so I made sure it wasn't in their line of fire.
Yeah, but the Helios got to move up and shoot the first activation the next turn.
I thought for sure that they were far enough away that they wouldn't be able to get to them.
I thought so too, but
he brought his laser out. No,
he brought his laser out and drew a line and
lasered it. Come on, jeez Louise.
Yeah. Don, I was desperate for a win. You don't understand. It's been a while.
Jordan was sick too, so he wasn't thinking straight.
Well, it was a fun list too. I don't know. This was I think it was the old Origins list I had for 2018 in case I had to be a ringer list. So I'd never played the list, but it was a pretty solid list. It had 4 Helios in it, had a Phobos in it, had a couple of Aether, had a command brick with Zeus and 3 Odin.
Fewer Hades than you usually bring on.
I didn't even have a Hades.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, one Nord.
So it was a little different because you went a little heavier on infantry than you typically do.
Yeah, I think it was 2 squads of Immortals and 2 squads of Valkyrie.
Heavier than normal?
Well, that's pretty normal. I try to do 4 squads, but I don't always get 4 Valkyrie in there.
I thought you might have had 5. I thought you might have been sitting at 10 bases. I don't know.
I don't remember. Well, there are only 3 objectives, and I was able to get on 2 of them pretty quickly.
And I took less infantry than normal because I wanted to try a bunch of new units. Let's try these units more than let's build this list.
Yeah, you had a lot of armor on that list.
Yeah, it looked like I built that list. Well, it was a good time. It was nice to get to play Jordan because we don't get to play that often anymore, and B, it was nice to get a win because I don't get to do that much anymore.
Patrick and I did that chess clock game, which we've already kind of talked about on the groups, and I swear that we talked about it out here, but I can't remember.
It was surprising in the Facebook group too how there was no response to that. It was awesome or I can hate you and will kill your children.
Yeah,
mean,
I mean, it was kind of, we were expecting that. So I think a lot of people were taking it as in, because they know I work for the company, that maybe we're looking at going this direction. So there was a lot of "you better not" type posts. I'm like, dude, we were just for funsies trying it out to see if it was even,
Well, it's kind of important to see about, I don't know, getting the game times down.
It was just, for me, it's a huge tool for, because I think the biggest complaint for like drop fleet, especially, we used it for drop fleet, was people getting through their games.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're capping at 3 hours as it is. Like, can't extend that time anymore for a tournament game. Otherwise, we got to cut down to 2 games, and that's not really worth it.
I don't know that I've had much trouble ever hitting, like when we played in Cleveland, I had no problem with 2.5 hours. But I think that also has something to do with list building, because I don't bring a lot of frigates. I'll bring a swarm of corvettes, but then I stack them.
Yeah.
And I bring a few destroyers, but my only frigates typically are strike carriers. Otherwise, I'm battleship, battle cruisers, and cruisers. So I think that speeds my gameplay up because it is just fewer models to worry about.
Yeah, I tend to play the same way in fleet. I like the big ships.
I go back
I
and
feel
forth.
like
Sometimes I do big ships. Sometimes I do a lot of small ones.
I feel like frigates are fillers. Oh, I've got 40 points I can squeeze in here. I'll throw in a Europa.
Well, depends on your fleet too, because
Right.
like when I play Scourge, especially, I think that they have some pretty quality frigates. So
Yeah, and maybe it's just PHR. Maybe I just don't like PHR frigates. I don't know. I mean, for the point cost it is for me to bring a group of Europa, I could bring a Theseus.
So could we say that you like to forget about it? That sounded funnier in my head. I think it.
that went over my head. I didn't even get what you were.
He was trying to make frigate sound like forgets.
Oh,
You see what he tried to do there?
Yeah, to say frigate.
Yeah.
I did say forget about it.
Yeah, you didn't.
Forget about it.
You got to pull that vowel out there, man. Frigate.
Forget about it.
Let's forget about this joke.
But anyways, so yeah, it was a good experiment, and I would definitely do more chess clock games, especially if you find yourself on a limited time frame. It's a good way to just kind of make sure you're not pushing beyond what kind of time frame you have.
So the thing I do like about it, because I've played with the people who, and I don't want to call them stallers, but I've played with the people that will sit there and overanalyze every move they're about to make. And it just saps the tension out of the game for me. Like, I feel like when it's my turn, I already know what I'm doing. I'm moving my shit because I want to get on to the next turn. Because it's already spaceships. They're already going too slow for me. So
Yep. Yeah.
I want that game going faster. So I like it for that. Because it creates some tension too. The clock can make you make mistakes, and that's kind of cool. Because if you're out there commanding a fleet of ships, you don't have time to sit there and be like, well, do you think we should flank their dreadnoughts? You have to make that call or die.
Yep. You got to definitely concentrate more in between your turn, and then also, measuring and stuff like that becomes a lot less tedious because you're like, okay, well, I don't want to spend all my time making sure this is at the perfect quarter of an inch where I need it to be.
Right.
You're just like, all right, get it over there. So, but I quite enjoyed it. Like, I would never use a chess clock on games that I didn't think were sort of pushing like a time barrier, but we could easily get like 4 hours going in a fleet game if we're not, really paying attention to what we're doing. So
definitely. Well, Jordan ran demos that day at Guard Tower for me, so I got a game of Drop Fleet in that day as well. And that game I got, or not Guard Tower,
Dragon's Roost.
Dragon's Roost, yeah. I got curb stomped by Michael He came in, hadn't played Fleet in a while, and we played one of the Origins missions, the second mission with the raise scoring at 1,000 points. And he built a UCM list specifically for that mission, and it was horrendous. He had a pack of 4 Madrids, and he max thrust them up the board turn 1. I think he max thrust them again turn 2, and turn 3 he wiped out half the cluster in one volley. And it was just, I'm like, all right, he read the mission, and I'm really curious to see how that gets played as a whole come Origins now.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. But
one thing I'd really like to do is a tournament where you can have a different list for it. Like you can customize your list per mission. I think that might be kind of fun. It's a bit more work on the player's end because they have to swap out a few things. They shouldn't. I mean, the core of or what a lot of people would do for their tournaments is have like a 250 point pool off to the side. You could swap some ships in and out with.
Oh, well, I'm making my players come with 3 complete lists for each tournament. So
yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Maybe you should come play in that. You might find you enjoy it.
I will be making us money.
Jordan can make us money.
Jordan, go do my job for me, Jordan. While I go play games.
Right?
He does enough for me. I would like him to continue coming out and helping me. Abuses generosity.
I mean, don't you already?
So
yeah, you look abused.
That's what we call a guilt trip. I don't know.
It's not working.
No?
No, dude.
You got to go to Vegas.
He's been married long enough. You don't know how to guilt trip him properly.
Right.
So, is that your recaps?
Yeah, you got anything else?
My recaps, I've actually been back in video game land. I had a very long hiatus. So, obviously Red Dead, I talked about that before, but I just picked up Days Gone a few weeks back. If you don't know what Days Gone is, it's a sandbox open world game. It seems to be like my go-to game these days because I can get the most out of it. Most out of my purchase with these games. You're basically in this post-apocalyptic zombie slash infected zombies, not like undead zombies. Everybody has motorcycles that they ride around on. And you're basically playing a character that's who's the biker dude from Walking Dead? Totally blanking on his name.
Daryl,
yeah, Norman Reedus' character. You kind of like a parody of him, I would say. You have a crossbow as one of your weapons and that kind of stuff. But the real appeal to this game, as I've been getting into it, is the horde fights. They're like legit scary. These hordes are hard as hell. You have to plan out your routes, how you're going to deal with them, set traps, you can throw Molotov cocktails at them and that kind of stuff. But as you get farther and towards the end of the game, it's like 200 zombies you're fighting off. Crazy amounts of stuff like that. So it's been good. It's been a fun challenge.
It's funny because you talked about buying a brand new video game, and the most recent video game I bought was Good Old Games re-released the original Diablo for $10, and I played through that again.
And how frustrating was it to only be able to move in cardinal directions?
I had to rediscover that the shift button let me stand still and shoot arrows. So I'm like, oh, okay, wait, I'm okay now.
Wasn't that the movement on that, like point and click? So it would go to wherever you clicked on the screen.
Yeah, but if you hold shift, you'll just sit and shoot.
Oh, okay.
You'll stay stationary. So it was a fun walk down memory lane.
Cool. Yep. And then I also picked up a couple new mobile games on my phone. Time Killers. One is a word. It's a word one. You gotta create words out of these letters they give you. called Wordscapes. And then another one called Seaport, which is basically controlling a seaport, and you gotta manage your seaport. It's the whole worker placement type thing. You got to build up this thing that makes this thing, so you can make the ships and stuff like that, and you send them out to other islands.
Don, what level are you on in Wordscapes?
Oh, are you playing it?
Jordan plays it. I'm playing it. My wife plays it.
I'm not too far along. Honestly, I tinker on it every couple of days. Really, I got a reward. In fact, there is the music for it now. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not.
I cannot.
Okay, it's just my headphones in. 91. So I'm not too far up.
You're not far behind me. I'm only at like 150. So
okay.
Jordan's at like 700 or some shit like that.
Holy crap!
I'm not that far along. I think I'm like at 400 or 500.
Okay.
Maybe 300. Some. I don't know.
Funny thing is, my wife got it like 2 weeks after I got it. She's already like 30 levels in front of me. She does have an English degree though.
I know I'm still on 6-letter words, and I know it does progress to 7-letter words.
Yeah, I've got some 7-letter words for you. But we'll get the explicit tag.
Yeah. So, anyways,
how many 7-letter curse words are there?
I can only think of one. And it might not even be. It might be 2 separate words. Could be hyphenated. Hobby.
We did some.
We did. I've built and painted and windowed 5 MDF buildings of the 13 in the kit. Hopefully I'll have that whole kit done for Origins.
You've only shown 3 of them, so I don't think I've seen 2 of them then.
Well, maybe I don't show you everything I do, Don. Maybe my self-confidence can't handle you belittling me that much. I showed you we were chatting the other night, and I took my phone over and I showed you because you were like, I hate the color on that building because the one was like beige and maroon, and you didn't like it.
I don't remember that.
Were you drunk?
Maybe.
It's possible. Maybe I'll take some. Yeah. Yes, you did look. You're like, I hate that color.
Might have just been auto-responsing.
Nice. My triumph, my ultimate triumph is that about a couple of hours before this podcast started recording, I sprayed the sealer on my final batch of Zombicide miniatures. So, Black Plague, Green Horde, Wolfsburg, No Rest for the Wicked, Friends and Foes, Hero Box 1, Deadeye Walkers, Zombie Bosses, and one of the NPC character packs, all painted.
I'm going to give you a golf clap for that accomplishment. Because that's huge. It's a big feat, man.
That is a couple hundred miniatures, easy. And they are all adequate tabletop quality.
I mean, to be honest with you, though, those things are kind of getting shuffled into a bin, so it's not like you're gonna.
No, there were some that were obviously, they were learning experience and then teaching tools. The Wolf Abomination, I did a lot of experimentation with the airbrush on, and there's a couple of other characters that I really tried to improve my painting on, but at the end of the day, at the same time, I was like, you know what? They're board game pieces, and I just want them to look nice on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But so now it's done, and I just wait for Zombicide Invader to show up.
And you have a couple hundred more to worry about.
Well, I have Jagged Alliance here, but it's only got about 20 miniatures total. And I'm barely started on Massive Darkness, so. And
so you only have 20 miniatures to paint.
By Goblin math, yes. I got Massive Darkness a year ago from Don, so.
Yeah, it was just after Origins, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Because I was looking at buying it, and you're like, I've got the Kickstarter. And then, you just sold it off. So I was like, cool.
The best thing about that is I got to ship it in the same box. I just taped it back closed.
It was like I just got my pledge super late.
Right. Oddly enough, that was one that my wife wanted me to back, and then I don't know if she forgot about it or whatever. We were kind of getting towards moving or thinking about moving. I was like, do we just want to sell this?
Yeah, I remember because I was gonna go buy it, and you're like, "Let me ask her if she cares if I get rid of it." And I'm like, okay, sweet."
So, I mean, not that I necessarily wanted to sell it or anything like that, but I knew there was no way we were going to get around playing it. So, it made more sense that you would have it get the game for a cheaper price than.
And I have actually played it. I've played like 3 of the missions. The core heroes for that are painted because I painted them up with my zombie side stuff because I had the crossover cards.
Mm-hmm.
But
cool, man. So
yeah,
I actually did a few weeks of MDF building, building some of more than a handful of our kits. Because at the shows I didn't have anything ever built, and at Adepticon we actually had one kit bust open, the Saran wrap broke on it, so I just had a friend of mine build it. It was like a little 15mm church, World War II church or whatever, and somebody actually bought that already assembled. I don't know if he like wanted it that badly that he bought it assembled, or if it specifically because it was assembled, but he wanted that one.
I think it was the only one left at that point.
Yeah, it might have been like that's the case or whatever. But anyway, and I also get a lot of questions about like how big is this and how big is that? So it's good to have those for reference out there. So I decided to.
You know what probably wouldn't suck too is even to have like a Space Marine to put next to some of the more grimdark looking stuff and the orc stuff. And
Is the Space Marine the universal size comparison? Everybody knows what a Space Marine.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could throw out some U.S. Ariadne grunts, but
well, if anything, I'll bust out one of our miniatures anyway. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but who plays those games?
I was going to say, if you bring out the Space Marine, then the 28mm is going to be like 35, and it'll seem out of proportion.
Well, in that case, you should get a Primaris Space Marine because he's like 40mm. That was a joke.
Sure.
Actually, I'm not sure that it is.
They are. They're bigger. The Primaris ones are bigger than the regular Marines.
And the regular Marines are already oversized heroic.
Mm-hmm.
Extra heroic.
Extra super heroic, yeah. I mean, I guess they're genetically engineered, so they're the cream of the crop, so they're larger than the average human.
Do they have to go to the big and tall armor shop?
And then they're wearing armor on top of that. So
anyway, but that was actually quite enjoyable. A couple of weeks there putting those things together. So I love building Legos, and I actually haven't even had a chance to build any of our MDF kits yet prior to this. So it was nice getting into them, and also seeing the quality of our build instructions on our website, which are unfortunately only a little better than IKEA's for some of these. There were a few I had to like, what is this part? So, but mostly good. And then I'm also painting the PHR Behemoth, since I only had it in resin for Adepticon, so I actually want to get it painted. Behemoth. And then I have like a ton of stuff to get done for Gen Con.
Are you doing a shitty paint job on the Behemoth because it's PHR and you want to hurt my feelings?
I'm not doing a shitty job on it. It's not going to be like the absolute best quality I could do on there, but it's not going to.
You could have sent it to me and I would have painted it.
You actually do all right with your. But it would come back red though if you do it.
That's true.
Like, I need this to be brown and cream. Okay, here you go, red.
This is the correct PHR color.
Which shade of red is closest to this brown and cream you speak of? So, well, that's what I'm working on.
If you're red-green colorblind, this is exactly the color you requested.
Exactly. So that's my hobby stuff right now.
I'm excited to see the behemoth in person. Is he going to be at Origins?
No, I'm actually not bringing any my case stuff to Origins this year. It's a little tighter on the booth there.
You're not going to bring a behemoth to Origins.
Everybody's already seen it.
I've not.
Have you not?
I have not physically put my hands on it.
Okay, I guess I'll bring it because you want to see it. But I hadn't planned on bringing any of my display cases for that one.
Will it even fit in your small case?
Yeah, it might. Actually, I don't know. The way I modeled it, I'm not sure. It'll fit in the one that we had at Gamma, but that sort of broke. So
it's okay. You don't need a case. I will just lovingly cradle it like a newborn child the entire show.
Yeah. Although last year I had the sort of baseball display cases, and people were like touching the stuff, so I can't trust the crowds not to ruin anything else.
Yeah, I had to hook you up with a flight stand for that Dreadnought, that Shatari Dreadnought last year.
Yeah.
And someone broke one of my Rumble Slam dudes off his base.
Yep.
Playing with them like action figures.
It's a rough show, man. Got to protect those things.
Jesus.
That happened with my Rumble Slam at Gen Con last year on the demo table.
I didn't know about that.
And it happened with the demo set at Adepticon. I had to reglue the guy back onto a base, I think.
Okay. Well, this one was like legit. Somebody was being a douchebag.
Let's body slam this wrestler.
Yeah. Like, dude, come on. So, but anyway, Jordan, any hobby?
I put together a few buildings. I kind of put a really sloppy base coat paint job on one. Got to touch it up a bit, weather it. I did, paintless assembling, which I'm probably going to regret on a few of the buildings, but
yeah.
You can get away with that stuff sometimes. I think the drop zone buildings benefit from doing it pre-paint, though.
Mm-hmm.
I've found a sponge and craft paints are stupidly, fantastically easy for getting your bases on these things.
Yeah, a lot of people will say that you don't want to use your expensive paints on terrain unless you're painting something for a display, like a diorama or something like that. Otherwise,
well, and I will say that's mostly true. Like all my base coat is done with craft paints, and then I'll go through and do some detailing. And it depends if I can do it with craft paint, I will. Otherwise, I'll use some of my army painter stuff. But like my weathering was all airbrush. So, but once you've got a base coat on them, it doesn't suck up your paint completely. Yep. So you can paint it like a normal model at that point.
Yep. Tip for all you MDF people who are looking to get into it is you got to seal the MDF first. So doing that either with some really thin white glue water mix, or a can of clear coat. Rattle can, just cheapest rattle can of clear coat you can find, and seal it with that first.
Yeah, 99-cent Walmart rattle can works really well. Or I didn't rattle can any of this stuff. I literally just sponged on the craft paint and used it as the primer and the base coat.
Okay.
And it went on really well. Hey, you're laughing at me. I'm just saying this is a time-saving tip. I mean, their buildings, they're all pretty much monochromatic. So
I guess it depends how you're going to store it. If you're going to keep it on a shelf at home, that's fine. But otherwise, I would question the longevity of a paint job that didn't at least have a primer base coat.
Well, you got to seal it when you're done, goober.
Yeah, I would say it might fleck off because there's going to be some dirt and grime and stuff on there.
You're going to fleck off, pal.
If you don't prime the MDF, it hurts consistency, but it will never flake off because the MDF just soaks in the paint. Yeah, you're never unpainting it.
It's like Jordan is saying the MDF sucks.
Yes.
So other than getting some buildings built, Jordan, did you do anything else hobby-wise?
No, not really.
Let's backtrack to game recaps because Jordan had himself a nice little weekend retreat of gaming he just did.
I did. Yeah, I went and visited my cousin and my uncle who are not miniature gamers, but gamers in general. Played a lot of tabletop board games. Some Terraforming Mars. Played a round of Gloomhaven and played 2 games of Too Many Bones, which I picked up at Adepticon. So
big shout out to my boy Andrew over at Chip Theory Games. Chesney. Over at Chip Theory Games. Excellent board games if you're looking to get into high quality, super fun board games. They sell a bunch of them.
Command Value 1 is brought to you by Chip Theory Games.
So, Too Many Bones is kind of I would say it's a unique board game. It's a dice building RPG board game, which
all those things together don't sound like they should fit, but
it does.
Yeah.
For the scale of what you're doing, because you do kind of you progress through some different events and you kind of play one full game is like a night's adventure. But for what it is, for the scale of it, it's pretty easy cleanup. If I'm comparing it to the amount of bookkeeping and tracking and stuff that you got to do for, say, Gloomhaven, it's a much quicker cleaning up game.
Yeah, I mean, most of what you're putting away is just the chips and dice. So it's two, you don't have like 50 little meeples out there or whatever.
Yeah, it's not so bad. There's nothing to really like refile or anything like that.
So, what I like about the game is it kind of has a feel like any of your video game RPGs where you have a skill tree level up system on there, and that's the way that they have these dashboards for your characters, and they have that skill tree level up on there, and then you use the when you roll bones, you use that as sort of like power moves when you build up enough of those. So that's what I like about it. And then when you it's sort of like I would say it's almost dungeon crawly. I've actually been playing a lot of going back with Diablo 3 lately. So that kind of is the first thing to pop in my head.
I just was constantly confused when you guys started talking about Too Many Bones. I assumed we were talking about Gordo's Kickstarter obsessions.
I do have Too Many Bones from Reaper as well. I did. That is also hobby related. I got my Bones 4 Kickstarter, all 60 pounds of it, or I think it was only like 40 to 45
kilograms,
pounds, but still, that's a lot of plastic.
45 pounds of really lightweight plastic.
That's right.
The box was probably 2.5 foot square.
Jesus.
And there was not any bubble wrap in it. Like it was
stuffed to the gills.
Stuffed to the gills with plastic.
Nice.
Like I think there was one strip of the air bubbles.
Bones 5 should be right around the corner, Jordan. Get ready.
Right.
Get painting.
Yeah, I got to finish up Bones 1 first.
Hey, I know a guy
Send,
that's
send him over to
that's been,
Derek.
yeah, right.
He's enjoying going through a couple hundred minis at a time.
Right. It's called batch painting, and you should learn to do it. So I'm personally curious. We can run long in this episode. We haven't done one in over a month. How is Gloomhaven?
So there's a couple of quirks about it that I think I'll need to adjust to. Um, there is definitely a sense of urgency in every mission that you play. It for what it is, it's good at emulating being a dungeon adventure, kind of without a DM that you can kind of solo play. It's a kind of weird mechanic. So you only have so much time because you have you start with like 8 to 11, most of the time 10 cards, which is your hand, but it's also like your willpower. And you get your movement and your attacks off of those cards, and every round you choose two, and then you discard them. And then when your hand is empty, you have to do either a short or a long rest. Well, when you do that, you permanently get rid of one of those cards.
Ooh.
So you can only reset your hand so many times, and the more times you do it, the smaller hand your hand gets, the quicker you have to rest again.
Interesting. So is it as good as everyone says it is?
I mean, it's hard to say. I played one session, so I really enjoyed the session I had. I think it's the way everything works and the fact that you can. One game matters to the next. There's that game save
Right.
type mechanic that's in it that appeals to some people. It was my uncle's campaign that we played the session of, so there was a lot of bookkeeping stuff that I didn't bother with. Like I didn't get to choose the weapons the guy came in with, or
So
spend
he
any
already had a
experience and
campaign
skill
going.
up. Yeah. Well, and that's a unique thing about Gloomhaven is you the way the game comes in the box.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain events that happen in the game, like in the world, that permanently change the board. So even if you go back, like that place is discovered, that cave is looted, that event has happened, and you put stickers on cards or on the game board, and they're stuck there.
Right.
So it's
That's
got
kind of
like
cool,
a
though.
legacy mechanic to it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, are we ready to move on to the community topic of the evening?
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Well, we posted a while back when we thought we were going to record sooner than we did. Some topics to talk about, and Jadar came up with wanting to know, Don, about you started out as a nerdy little fan like the rest of us, and you've moved into a position where you work for the company now, and you're helping to write rules, and you're involved, at a designer level in some capacities. And how's that transition been from going from a fan to becoming, a game designer to a degree?
So the background of how I got to where I am is I had quit my job at 12 years to take a chance of going back to school for IT. So I was just doing warehouse work. My son was born, so it was a good time for me to be at home and help out with that because my wife had her career already started. And then a buddy of mine got me into the whole gaming tabletop gaming things. I didn't do any of this stuff. I'm actually pretty new to it relatively as far as most people go. I wasn't a 90s Warhammer player like a lot of people were. This was the game I kind of latched onto was Drop Zone, and decided that was going to be my game. I wanted to be a street crew person for the company, whatever your game of choice is calling it. Jumped into doing that. So the first thing I did was help out Simon, for those that remember Hawk Simon, at Adepticon. Jesus, be 5 years ago now? 5 years ago now. It must be. So anyways, I just did that, and then I helped him out with Gen Con that year as well, and then jumped on board with a few others the next following year. And then while talking about how we got into the industry and stuff like that, I showed interest in potentially working for him. So he got me on part-time because of, as good a work as I was doing for him. And I was in a position to be able to take that job part-time. And that's more or less how I got into it, was just show initiative and be flexible. That's one thing people have to understand about this industry is you got to be really flexible. So you have to understand you're going to be wearing many hats. You're not going to be getting the best pay. It's not the best paying career choice. Even less so on the miniature side. So it's definitely a, what do you call it, labor of love type thing. And then getting into that, I only started out as doing like part-time work for convention work, which eventually went to full-time towards the end of Hawk. And then as TT took over, and people were from Hawk left or were let go or whatever, I sort of rose up to full-time running all of the US. So I would say some of this is also luck, luck of the draw that I ended up where I was.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
Yeah. So it's a learning experience too, because even though I had warehouse experience, which has been greatly helpful, was dealing with a lot of the logistics side of things. I had some management experience as well, so that helped out as but as far as being a public member of a community, the public face of a company as well, and dealing with a much bigger social interaction than I typically was used to. That was probably the hardest part, was getting to be like expecting people to know who I am and talk to me at every show and things like that. And just like I was not used to any of that kind of interaction on a regular basis. And so, yeah. And then, familiarity of the Drop Zone and Drop Fleet, which TT didn't have very much of, certainly helped. So that's why I've been working directly with Dave with the rules and all those types of things, because they obviously trust me with my years of experience with the game. And that's good, though. I mean, all of the sort of trust and building of that and showing my knowledge of how to do things, and it gives you a chance to kind of push yourself as well, because, I mean, there is a panel that's going to say yay or nay to things that you put forth, so it's not like you have to be like afraid to say a rule that might not work out or something like that. You can kind of push the envelope sometimes, and sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it's doesn't work out. And so that's it. That's kind of how I got to where I am and got into writing the rules and all that stuff now.
Had you always been like a painter, or is that something you just discovered you happen to be like studio quality at?
Well, I did. I took art classes in high school, and then I painted canvas for a while. So that's where I had an art background, but not like professionally or anything like that. In fact, I actually really hated painting miniatures when I first started doing it. I was one of those like primed or not even primed, just built model players for a while, because I just didn't. It took me I went into it kind of kicking and screaming. But I think a lot of that though was I just didn't understand the medium and how to put the quality forth onto a model that I wanted for a while. And I'm the type of person that doesn't like to do things half-ass. So I'd rather have something not started than it look like total garbage, you know?
I'm with you.
So that was it. And then just the will to want to be better by watching YouTube videos and stuff like that. So I took a few classes, but most of it was watching YouTube videos and just kind of picking out techniques that I thought would fit the way that I paint best. I've always done acrylics on canvas too. So luckily that sort of groomed me a little bit in how to work with the type of paint.
So why am I not seeing any free, sweet ass freehanding on your resistance stuff?
My resistance stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. My own personal stuff. Oh, dude, when I got into resistance, I was already into commission painting, so.
So you never had time to paint your stuff.
I don't have time to paint my own stuff. Unless somebody paid me to do it, I was not going to be doing it. The only actual freehanding I was able to get done since I've kind of gotten back into the hobby here is the one competition piece I put in for Crystal Brush 2 years ago. 3 years ago now. Yeah, 3 years ago now.
Where'd you rank?
I didn't make it through to the end, so the final.
God, you are a failure, Don.
Yep. They don't place you first through 30th or however many there are. You make the first cut and then you kind of more or less guess where you ended up on top of that. Which was a little disappointing because I put a lot of time into that piece and it was what was it? What's the totally forgetting the board game now. It's the cool mini one. Anyways, there was an it was like a chibi. They look like all chibi dudes. And I was super into chibi at that time because some of my first commissions was like a whole bunch of Super Dungeon Explorer. Like a lot of Super Dungeon Explorer. And then so I did the Kickstarter for this game, and then one of the side packs was a sort of like spoof off of Harry Potter stuff. So it was Voldemort and Bellatrix and some of the Death Eaters and stuff in the box. So I took the Voldemort character out and I painted him up and put him on a plinth and did for his little background, I did the Hogwarts castle at night.
Picture, it didn't happen.
Yeah, I can show you pics. Would you like me to send them to you directly or post them up for everybody to see?
Oh, I guess that's up to you.
I can do both.
I mean, if you don't post them up for everybody to see now, everybody that's listening is going to be like, dick.
Right, yeah.
Now that you've built it up so much.
Right. Like, oh, yeah, this was just my Crystal Brush submission. Yeah.
The funny part about that, though, is I sent the following year I put a submission in, which is actually just a commission piece that I did. Like I wasn't going to have time to do my own piece, so I took one of the Super Dungeon Explorer models and just put more time into it than they were paying me to do, so I could submit it. And I actually ended up getting into the first cut with that model, and I was like, really? This one I make it in, and the other.
Nice.
So those competitions are hard though, because they have like different guest judges every year, and you don't know what they're looking for.
Well, and
apparently,
it's not like you're just going up against some good painters too. I mean, you're going up against some of you're going up against the best painters in the hobby, right? I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
So speaking of the Crystal Brush, it's leaving Adepticon, getting replaced by the Golden Demon.
It is. I don't know the background of how those two ended up parting, but one or both of the parties decided it was time to move on.
So I'm wondering if it was more GW wanting in than Simon wanting out.
I don't know. Maybe I totally sent that to the wrong group.
So where's Crystal Brush going to then?
I don't know
have
if
no
it's
idea.
been announced yet.
They don't have anything posted yet for it.
Well, we've just been all over chasing squirrels tonight, guys. We want to talk about some upcoming events.
I mean, if we have to, we can.
Well,
yours is coming up the soonest, so.
Yeah, Origins. Event registration is live. Fleet's about half full. Zone is met its minimum requirements. So come on, people, register. It's 3 rounds, 500, 1,000, 2,000 tournament packs up. I will post it actually in the Command Value 1 group in case people want to see it there. Ton of great prize support. I've got Mats by Mars sent me $50 gift vouchers for each tournament, so that's a free mat for whoever gets that. Don's gonna give me some TT prize support. I've got Rich over at Green Stuff Industry sending me some stuff. Widget Wizards is sending me some stuff. I talked to the Model Exchange, but they've kind of been quiet. I don't know if Alan's got something going on in life right now, but I haven't heard back from him. So I'll double check with him, but hopefully I hear back from him.
He's been quiet in the group, and his Etsy page is currently down. So
yeah, I'm hoping he's all right. I mean, and I know he's had stuff going on in life. Last year when we were doing stuff, I know he had a lot going on in his life of family medical stuff, and I'm just, you hate like badgering for your toy soldier tournament when they've got serious shit going on in life, and then you feel like that putz.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of great prize support, and it's looking like it's going to be a good time. I'm really excited to see how the tournament format works, and then we move right on a month later to Gen Con, and you've got all the events live for that, right? Or scheduled for that.
Yep. They are all submitted. So they actually all got approved. So that's good. So that's going to be a second edition Drop Zone tournament. The Fleet Narrative event from AdeptCon was submitted and approved. So we'll be doing that again. Ran by Patrick again. And then Rumble Slam tournament and a narrative 3-round event for Carnival.
There is
our illustrious. What's that?
Who's our illustrious?
It's our illustrious Commander Donk, Cameron.
Donk. Alex is running a Rumble Slam tournament at Origins as well. I forgot to mention that.
He is, yes, yep.
So,
thanks for reminding me on that one.
You are welcome.
Let's see.
And then after that, we've got Michigan GT.
Mm-hmm. So the Michigan GT has been upgraded this year to a premium event for us, meaning that I will have a full line of product available. And we are also kind of like co-running next door with like the Warlord guys. So we'll be in the same sort of retail and tournament spaces that Warlord guys. So that's kind of cool doing a show like semi-cooperative with them. Great bunch of guys and awesome games from them. That will also be, so it's going to be the usual format that we've done every year. So this is going to be the 4th year now. 3rd year for the format, 4th year for us being there. And that it's the combined 2 single tournaments, but then a combined winner overall. So if you have time to play in both, you get a chance to maybe be the grand champion of the whole thing, which I think is good incentive. So those events are going to be there. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's going to be Zone. I think I flip-flop it every year. So Zone is now on Saturday this year with Fleet on Sunday, because it was reverse of that last year, I believe. And I do it like this, so that way if you prefer one or the other, maybe one year, the one tournament or the other lands on a day that's more convenient for you. And then I also have Rumble Slam tournament, little tournament on Friday nights, and Carnival running simultaneous with on Saturday as well. And that's going to be a 3-round narrative event as well that I will actually be writing the rules for. Hopefully I know the game well enough before then to not totally host that event. So, and there might be a surprise guest. I'm trying to talk a surprise guest into coming out and TOing for us. So I haven't 100% confirmed that yet, but when I do, I'll let everybody know. But, for anybody for anybody who's been on the fence to go to this event, this might be a good year to dip your toes in. So it's over in Lansing, Michigan. It's at the Causeway Bay.
The front desk is always entertaining.
Especially last year.
Oh my God!
It's a very, I would say it's a pretty affordable event. The sticker shock on the events might seem kind of crazy, but there's no badge requirements, so you're just paying for the event.
Well, so and follow that up too. The prize support is fantastic.
Yep. So we always make sure we have tons of prize support for this event.
I think last year it was $40 or $50 to do both zone and fleet, and then the hotel was $100 a night. And if you're splitting that 3-4 ways, that ain't shit. But I mean, you walked out of there.
Cheap.
Everyone walked out of there if they're acrylic, and you get the special acrylic stuff, and then if you do win, you get the sweet mugs, and it's a good time. It's a fun little show.
Yep.
I mean,
and then
it's not.
It's nice. It's very focused too. It's very very intimate. You're there to play the tournament, and then,
exactly.
And have a good time afterwards. Have a few beers afterwards.
Right. There's not an extensive amount of vendors. No, I mean you're going to drink alcohol. The Swede will be there, so.
The vendor opportunities are growing every year, though.
This is true.
Mantic is in the running this year now.
Oh, really? Wow.
I don't know what kind of presents they're going to have, but they just announced today
that
or
means
yesterday.
I can buy all my
Mantic
Kings of War shit to play my Warlords of Aeron stuff. So yeah, that's great.
But you already have all the zombie stuff to do that. So.
Well, I still need more miniatures, Jordan. Geesh.
Because you only have.
And Warlord is also. I know Warlord is also doing. They're officially running their own events this year.
Yeah.
So instead of having a local TO do it, they're actually stepping up and running it as an official event this year.
They caught me last year using pin markers as damage markers in Drop Zone.
They didn't like that.
I'm really expecting it. I'm
No,
hoping
they loved
it turned
it,
out.
Actually.
Yeah. The turnout's been growing every year. What did we have last year? It was like 10 and 12, something like that.
Yeah. I think it was 12 for both, or 12 and 14 maybe.
Maybe somewhere around there, yeah. So, one thing I wanted to mention that Gen Con really cut us back on the amount of space that we have for the events. So I think everything is capped at 12.
Well, it makes really better Origins is capped at 12. So.
I mean, I probably won't be able to get any more space unless that sells out in record time. So, which kind of sucks because it scaled back from the most we were able to get was 32. The last year Simon was running it. But we also haven't ran tournaments there in a number of years. It's probably been 3 years since we ran tournaments. So, and space is just, even with the expansion, space at Gen Con is always a fight every year. So,
well, I mean, it's 60,000 nerds crammed into one location for 5 days.
Yeah,
and
if people haven't seen, they're expanding across the street. There was the pavilion area right where the train station is. There was a whole open area pavilion, but they're gutting that, and they're building an expansion to the convention center over there. Probably with I would imagine a walkover of some sort to get over there, and it's also going to house 2 new hotels above it, just to accommodate and keep Gen Con there in Indianapolis.
Good Lord.
Yep. So big deal, big deal. Fun show. If you've never been, go at least once.
Nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to work it.
Yeah, it's a madhouse. Nobody really gets a break at that one.
No, it's crazy.
So, but that's it. I've done yammering on here. So,
All
come to
right.
the GT, Michigan GT, October.
Yep. Yeah, you already mentioned that. Are we splitting a room again? Command Value 1 going to split a room?
Yeah, we can.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know. First you mentioned it.
You're like,
reason why not.
Yeah, we can.
It's putting them under pressure, asking them on the
asking them on air.
All right, trying to start some
Patrick.
shit.
Patrick can stay with Patrick can stay with Josh again since they like to get hammered together. Take care of each other.
Be a good time.
One or both were throwing up on Saturday night last year.
I can get shit for sleep because I'll have you both snoring on opposite sides of me. It'll be great. Or Don politely throwing up in the bathroom night too. So
yeah, hopefully I won't be sick this year. I wasn't from drinking
too.
though. That was an infection.
Yeah, I felt bad for you. I thought it was from the pizza. I thought you had I don't know. I thought the pizza made you sick.
I thought so for sure, too, because I had a large coffee and then that greasy ass pizza. But I think it was a combination of all that. So
yeah, that was a delightful morning.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I probably was ghost white most of that morning.
Oh, dude, you look like death warmed over. Do you need help? Do you need anything? I don't have to play. I can help. No, go play. I'm fine.
Yeah. Sort of probably the worst aspect of this job is you got to do it,
Yeah.
So whether you feel like death or not, you still got to do sales and run stuff. So
show must go on.
You were the guy that brought the cud to the cron that time.
I don't think I had anything that was catchy though.
That was all.
I'll share my blood with you. Oh God. Can I have some Purell after touching?
I wonder if that lady ended up not working.
Yeah, no, she was out of there. She was going to.
No, seriously, it's not that bad. We want people to come.
All right. There was just a little bit of a nervous breakdown with one of the employees.
Final thoughts. Yeah, I guess we keep talking about it. We don't talk about it. Apparently, someone called off. And this was the second or third night in a row they had called off. And the one gal that was working was there with her 4-year-old. And it's 11 o'clock at night. And she just completely lost it on this chick on the phone. I mean, it was stereotype TV drama, man. I felt so bad for the chick who was working and trying to keep her cool.
Yeah, her face was stone, pretending that's not happening.
Train wreck was a good way to. That's a good way to label what was happening there.
So,
it was
the woes
of
customer
situation.
Service,
right?
But anyway, so final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
My final thought is I am thoroughly enjoying season 8 of Game of Thrones, the final season. I'm in apparently the minority of that. I do agree. I mean, I'm not 100% in love with it, but I am for the most part enjoying it. So I'm not going to be a hater on the final season. Enjoying the stupid petition rolling around.
My final thought is that this has been the worst season of Game of Thrones yet, and you can tell that they're sacrificing character arc to complete plot lines.
My final thought is
we can agree to disagree.
I wish I could care about Game of Thrones. I think I'm the only. I think I'm the only one in the world that doesn't.
George R. R. Martin
And
broke
this is
Jordan
why
before he even got a chance.
this is why we work, because we have three varied opinions on important subjects. Don likes, I hate, Jordan doesn't give a fuck. In a serious note, though, the final thought here is that it's sooner than later. It seems to be the direction we're at now. I think that we're getting some words out of TT now, and that's a good sign. I think the long wait is finally just about over. And the game needs it. It needs a shot in the arm. It needs some new life. It needs something to invigorate its fan base. It needs something to draw new players. It needs new toys. And that's all hinging on Battle for Earth. So the sooner we get that, the sooner this game can start to hopefully thrive.
Yeah, I would thoroughly enjoy not having to explain why Drop Zone 2-player sets are on mega sale at all my shows now.
Oh, Jesus, right?
So, yep. I think that's all we got for this week. Hopefully, next time we record,
all right,
we'll be talking about all things Battle for Earth. So,
right, Jordan, I specifically forgot to ask. Do you have any final thoughts?
My final thought was I didn't care about Game of Thrones.
That's your only final thought?
I mean, you got me on the spot. I don't have much on my mind right now.
All right. No, I just...
yesterday was Jordan's
it's like
birthday.
tradition that you just say nothing. That's right, you old fucker.
Yeah.
Right.
So, community, send Jordan a happy birthday from the community.
Jordan turned 23.
I wish it was only 23.
When did we get
He's actually
so old?
technically he's technically the youngest of our group.
Great. That means I'm the oldest of your group, right?
Yeah, Grandpa, your dad.
You only got me by 2 years, Dad.
You and Jordan are... I know, but that makes you 30-something.
Right. Yeah, at least I'm still in my 30s.
I've got 1 foot in the grave now.
Good way to put it.
Now I got to try to sit up in my chair. All right. Well, hey.
All right, let's let everybody go here.
As long as you have. Yeah, please subscribe, review, share, help us increase our what, Jordan? Our sphere of influence. Spheres. Love them. Anyways, thank you, and we'll talk to you next time. Gentlemen, good night.
Yeah, later.
See you.